Billy here! Yeah, I'm here. Still here. Should get a visa to Uzbekistan tomorrow. That'll be nice. If I get it, I'm going straight to the airport and screw you guys, I'm going to Uzbekistan. But I won't be there long. I'd like to be back in time for the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow. But we'll see. It's hard to plan anything these days. I haven't got any money for a COVID test, so Uzbekistan's the only place I can go. It's strange. I had a deal where I was supposed to get some money today. I transferred some from my account in the U.S. to a newfound friend's account. I have to take a risk. It was just little. And it went through. I used TransferWise. It took extra long. Usually it takes a half an hour. After I did it, they told me, because it's changing continents, because this guy's from Turkey, it's going to take an extra, please allow 4 to 5 business days. Anyway, the time came and it said it went in. This morning it said it went in. Congratulations. I'm a happy camper, so it's coming to me fast, right? And it never did. And so I went and checked, and they sent me another email after they said it went in and said, oh, something went wrong. That always happens. Every time. I don't know. It's just a coincidence, I suppose. So anyway, maybe my visa will get here. It's supposed to tomorrow, unless something went wrong. Anyway. Enough of that. I made a meme today. I haven't done that in a while. I saw one that was really good, but it seemed kind of incomplete. They had a poster made of all the documentaries at BBC and CNN and even the New York Times and Washington Post, all the stories that they did and documentaries, the splash page for everything about white supremacists in Ukraine. Is it real? And they did investigations and found out they're using swastikas for crying out loud. And of course, they went about that deep with it. But this is all before the war. But at least they gave it a little shot because it was noise. People have been talking about this for 8 freaking years. And I guess they couldn't ignore it anymore. And they had to get the scoop and tell you a little bit about it and spin it. But there were a lot of stories, and they had a whole page just covered with them. And this is the Western media before February 24th. Well, I've noticed the Western media since February 24th. Have you? Every time I open my Facebook page, it's like every other freaking page is, I support Ukraine, and Ukrainian flags, and they're always having puppy dogs and kitty cats and little blue and white kitty cats and people snuggling with bunnies. Actually, for real, I'm not exaggerating. You've probably seen it. Some average person holding their cat, a baby playing with a cat, and it's a big Ukrainian flag in the background. That's what you see now. Well, I made a collage of those and put them together so you can compare before February 24th and after February 24th. But it works on people. People are so freaking stupid. And combined with the news. Do you believe the news? Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and all these other guys, they went to Kyiv to meet with Zelensky. Really? You believe that? Do you believe that, really? Well, if you're watching this, you probably don't, but you share this with your friends, Because I got something to tell them if they believe that. If you believe that, I'm sorry, but you're really, really freaking stupid. You're an idiot. I mean, you're a complete freaking moron. You're a fool. You believe that? You think they went to a war zone to visit with Zelensky? Oh, and Boris Johnson went there too. He went to the war zone, and they have pictures of him walking around holding hands with Zelensky, in the streets of Kyiv. And then you watch another news story, and they show the Russians are shelling Kyiv and destroying everything and killing everybody. Do you believe both of them? Do you? Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. This is just a show for you. This is like watching, a horror movie or something. You know it's not real, but you want to be a part of it. You might even send them some freaking money to show what a good person you are. You freaking idiot. How are all those weapons getting in there? Oh, they just sent $3 billion of your tax money in weapons to help the Ukrainian kitty cats and puppy dogs and grandmothers. And you're okay with that, right? How do you think they get it in? They don't tell you that the Russians have completely wiped out the entire transportation system, even in Western Ukraine. They can't use the railroads and roads anymore. The Russians control the air. If these politicians went to visit with Zelensky in Kyiv, they would have had to have Putin's permission and protection to have done it. He's not in Kyiv. None of them are. It's a show. It really is a show. But you're giving money and people are dying. You're killing people. And you're promoting the New World Order. You're moving it right along so your grandchildren can have horrifying existences. Literal servos. Thanks for that. And people volunteering. Oh, I've seen some Lulus. People volunteering for the international force. Yeah, come on, bring it on. Unreal. It's just hard to take anymore. It really is. What else have we got? Oh, I saw some promotional videos. They're still wanting people to come and volunteer and help the Ukrainians fight off the Russians. And they get every single little subculture excited about it. The pagans, they're real big on that. There's some ass clown made a video. He's got like runes, or what they think are runes, and Scandinavian tattoos on his face, and a mohawk and a big red beard. I think he called himself Balderson. That might be his real name, but there's an awful lot of Baldersons. And he's talking about going to Valhalla, being a good warrior. And please. I've seen these guys. One of my friends fell into it, and we had a falling out over that because I had made fun of him. What is it, these people whose last name is, I don't know, Smith or Johnson or Harris, and all of a sudden they grow a big beard and they dye their hair red and they start getting weird tattoos. They start calling their wife their child maiden, and then they change their name to something like Dag Askerold. And they think they're a Viking. And they have rituals out in their backyards and stuff. Some people really get into that stuff. And I've read their literature because my friend kept giving me this stuff. Oh, you got to read this. And they're historical novels that some ass clown somewhere is writing. It's probably Jewish. And I'm reading this historical novel. I'm browsing through it. And he says, 500,000 brave Norsemen were murdered by Charlemagne because he tricked them into a truce. And that's why everything's Christian now. They're anti-Christian, first and foremost. Secondly, actually, that's probably secondly. First and foremost, they're larpers, and they're all into the aesthetics. And these books are illustrated with Japanese manga-style cartoons of Viking warriors and their chesty shield maiden. They're into it for the LARP, and they get so carried away with it. This ass clown I'm looking at today is actually trying to go to Ukraine and kill people. You think you're going to go to Valhalla? I told my friend this is what really pissed him off too, is because he wasn't even Scandinavian. A lot of them aren't. This guy is Jewish. He was a Jewish guy, a friend of mine. I mean, you could tell the first time I laid eyes on that guy, says, man, that guy is huge too. He's gigantic. And that's the biggest Jew I ever saw. Because he looked just like Marvin Hamlish did when he was younger. But now he thinks he's a Viking. Anyway, I said, okay, What you people think is you're reverting back to paganism and you want to encourage other people to do it, the religion of your ancestors. Well, asshole, your ancestors threw their paganism in the dirt and adapted Christianity about 20 generations ago, and you apparently think that you are the one that's going to correct the error and bring them back. So the last 20 generations of your ancestors were all fools waiting for you to be born. You freaking idiot. Anyway, well, it takes all kinds. Oh, who am I to make fun of other people's beliefs? Well, if they're not logically consistent, open season, buddy. Based in lies. It's crazy. I noticed a lot of these people in the going over there for the International Coalition of the Foreign Legion for fighting for Ukraine. They're all LARPing. And some of it is beyond LARP. A lot of them aren't really even there. There's a guy that Gonzolo Liro exposed. Well, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I forget his name. Vasques, I think. He keeps making videos about he's in the trenches. There's explosions going off. And you got to get on Telegram, man, because I think it was Joaquin Flores. Actually, it's all over the place. I Earl Grey, and it's on American Majority too. I'll share some links. But they took this guy apart because he says he's been in the trenches for weeks, and they got explosions going off. It sounds like somebody beating a quarter-inch plate with a hammer off in the distance, and he's acting like he's really doing it, and the camera pans around, and he's every new equipment he's got on designer sunglasses. And all his equipment is shiny and clean, and you get a glimpse of his boots. His boots aren't even dirty, and he's wearing stuff that's just wrong. What the hell? He's got like a lanyard, a carbiner, and it's hooked up to this little cheap plastic thing that will just pull off if you put any pressure on it. It's just, what are you freaking doing? And somebody really caught it. They pointed out that you could see a reflection in his designer sunglasses of somebody holding a foil board to get the light on his face right. Well, that's some pretty serious military photography there, buddy. War correspondents, and they're bringing all their lighting with them, and maybe the generator and the foam boards and stuff. Pretty cool there, Sergeant Vasques. He's there to save Ukraine. But anyway, Gonzolo really took him apart because he's LARPing. They have studios. They have outdoor studios where they have wrecked equipment. They bought a bunch of old BMTs from farmers around the area and turned them over and scorched them. And they're going through there acting like they're saving babies and they're fighting the Ruskies. And they film it. This is all this PR group. They've got a multi-billion-dollar budget to film this stuff and convince you of who the hero is. And so many people are buying it. That's what's really scary. I mean, this isn't even a casual thing. I mean, you don't even think when you watch this. You know why? Because you've been conditioned not to. If you watch television all your freaking life, you grew up watching your shows, and you watch them every night after work, you suspend your disbelief and you just absorb all this and become a part of the narrative. That's why you're freaking screwed. That's why you're going to be a slave. That's why your kids are going to be playthings for weird people, because you're a slave. You like that? Stop watching that crap. You're conditioned to go along with the narrative, and you'll believe anything. Yeah, some of the footage of the same guy, this Vasques actor guy, they got him. It was either him or another guy is carrying a freaking, well, it's not a saw, it's a Russian version of a saw. It's a belt-fed, fully automatic rifle. It's heavy. And this guy's carrying it on his shoulder like a freaking regular rifle. They don't even know what they're doing. He didn't notice it's got a freaking handle on it. That's not how you carry that, dumbass. Then they got another guy and another one that drags a 50. He's dragging a 50 through the dirt to set it up, I guess. He can't lift it because he's not a soldier, he's an actor. These people are actors. This has kind of turned into a rant, hasn't it? But, I don't know. So what happened to the information war? It doesn't even matter. I felt it was my calling to fight these lies and point this stuff out. But then I came to the realization that I don't think any honest people who have their morals right actually buy into this stuff. The people that buy into it want to. They do it because they want to, because they're corrupt. Intelligence and stupidity, the difference is usually a moral issue. You love truth? You care about truth? You going to look a little bit, or are you just going to watch your shows and have whatever opinions they give to you? And you're going to judge everything on that. Hey, I'm not being judgy. I was like that too. Really was. A long time ago. When I first came here. I came to Ukraine. I've always been interested in Soviet stuff. I wanted to go to Russia. But I was working in Afghanistan, and I was new, and everybody there, and plus all the handouts and all the information I got was, oh, Russia's very dangerous. You don't go there. But Ukraine's okay. Because they had plans for Ukraine. Oh, Russia's run by the mafia, and if you're there, they'll think you got money and they'll just kill you. Well, it sounded reasonable to me in 2004. Well, I came to Ukraine. And everything I saw was filtered and colored by that mentality. And plus all the movies you see movies. I never watched it very much, but I did see enough to see, they always portray Russians as really sneaky, brutal people. Even the little kids will kill you if they think you got money in the most ruthless way possible. Yeah, they got that in the movies, and people absorb that. It becomes a part of the way that they think of Russians. And it's not true. It's a movie. It's a freaking movie. There's no truth to it at all. But it conditions how you think. And it's all set up for this. Immediately after World War II, they set up NATO, and they set up with documents which I'll have to dig and find them. I've read all this stuff a long time ago, but the doctrine was it's always been to break up Russia. It's always been to break up Russia and obtain the resources for Western corporations. It's always been it. And the U.S. military doctrine has changed on paper quite a while ago to consider things to be threats, like things like competition or other people with industries that compete with ours, or people that won't sell their resources for pennies on a dollar to your corporation. Well, those are threats, and they have to be dealt with. You want to be a part of that? Well, you're going to get the payoff pretty soon. It's coming. They just can't stop themselves. They've been doing this for years. They set up these networks, and there's a ghost in the machine, and there's no stopping it. The Nazi network, it's an 80-year-old network. The command and control and the financing is all woven, especially in Canada, among the Ukrainian diaspora and their buddies. They've built all these networks. What are they going to do when they've lost? They've already lost. But what are they going to do when it's all over and they can't do anything else? What are they going to do with those mechanisms and those networks? They're very well connected and they're very wealthy. And it's going to be time for an economic collapse and a revolution in America and Canada. Yeah. Who's going to be poised to take over and turn it into a Ukraine? Maybe you'll have people kicking your door down and seeing how you pronounce things to see who you sympathize with. Oh, are you a Trumper? Huh? Oh, you a red stater? Oh, yeah, I guess you're going to have to go with us. Think it can't happen? It's been happening here for 8 years, and you all been like, la, 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 la. And then when Russia starts cutting it down, it's, I support Ukraine. I'm not talking to my listeners. I'm talking to the average American. It's coming. There's not many people saying that. I've done a lot of research on this, and that's going to be the next big thing. It might take a few years before they finally give up here. But all those, they are sending weapons over here. crappy ones and broke, used, wore out stuff because they want to replenish it with new stuff with your tax money. They're sending them howitzers and no ammo. They're sending them these javelins that are, beyond their expiration date for the batteries. Sometimes even they're old enough that the explosives are kind of unstable. They're getting a bunch of crap here. Even the U-Crop said that, it's like 1 out of 4 works. You're sending them bloody crap. You really care, don't you? It's comical. Nothing really comes in without getting totally foobarred or captured by the Russians anyway. So what's that $3 billion just recently? You really think that's not going to wind up recirculating back to their own pockets? And weapons are bleeding all over into Europe. The Polish border with Ukraine is just open and porous. The Poles opened it. Well, they're going to get what's coming to them. These jihadis, and that's what they are. They're Nazi jihadis. They're flooding into Europe and they got all kinds of weapons. What do you think they're going to do next? Who's in control of them? Does anybody really know? They're going to be used by somebody, and it's probably not going to be for pastoral reasons. There's some things to think about. I'm not going back to the West. Nah, I'm staying here. If I have to go out and dig a hole in the woods to live, I'm staying here. Do everything I can to stay here. I've got a little money, but I can't get my hands on it, and I'm watching it diminish as the dollar goes down and the ruble goes up. That's kind of hard. I'm lucky I'm not a real materialistic person. I have faith. And I've got a lot of skills, and I can do a lot of things. Somebody ought to pay me, at least give me room and board. I'll make myself useful. I can't really write my own ticket anymore, but that's okay. I'm pretty easy to please. I'm not going back. If I do get to go to Uzbekistan and get my money, I'm taking all of it out. All of it. If I don't, then I'll probably donate it to somebody for a good cause before it vanishes, before the bottom falls out and becomes, it won't be enough to buy a magazine with. Oh, mercy. Well, my donation site's still up. If anybody wants to throw a little shot into it, you probably ought to keep it for yourself. Unless you're very wealthy and you got yourself all set up, you might want to hang on to that. And it's probably, I'll give you some free advice. It's worth every penny that you paid for it. You probably want to put it in provisions, beans and rice. Find yourself a water source. Buy some things that you'll need if things get really bad. Because I think they're going to, in your country, in the States. All indications show that they will. The most important thing is to form networks of people within walking distance and networks and associations of people you can trust that are on the same page, and to watch out for each other. I don't know if it'll be in a couple of years or the day after tomorrow. It could slide off into the abyss at any time. And like I said, you got these networks. It's not just Antifa. They're all part of it too. They are coordinated. These clowns that pulled that stuff and trying to set people up last January 6th in Washington. There were people from Ukraine there. There's been several things where known Azov people were there. They sent them all over the world. The Azov guys, the ISIS, Antifa, they're all international organizations. I thought Antifa was anti-Nazi. God. Oh, yeah, the latest. There's a bunch of Israeli soldiers, Israeli Defense Forces. They're going to Ukraine to help the Ukrainian people. Yeah, they're helping Azov Battalion. Israeli Nazis, really? Well, Well, we live in interesting times. It's not that crazy. There was a Judenreich in World War II. There was a whole division of Jewish people that were actual in combat Nazis supporting the Third Reich. I think it was called the Judenreich. It's hard to find information. They're getting so good at scrubbing things. Google isn't even functional anymore. You can't find things like it used to. It used to be some little tricks, but now it's just like, well, you have to go back to about the 200th page before you find what you're looking for, because instead they send you stuff to try to spin you. Somebody that's unpopular that wrote a book that they don't like, you just Google their name and they don't come up. All the people that have written nasty things about them come up instead. Yeah, how does that work? Is that how Google's supposed to work? They've made their own companies completely non-functional in order to be politically correct. There's a lot of that. Banks are non-functional because, they forced you to do business with them. It started back in the 80s. You can't even get a paycheck anymore. It's got to be direct deposit. And then it's like, it's their money, and they'll maybe let you rent some of it sometimes. That's where it's getting to. Oh, you say something you don't like, they don't like? Oh, you can't have your money. It's just reflecting what the U.S. does on a major scale with other countries. They've seized all of Russia's assets. Why? Are you at war with Russia? They have been for years. They have been for decades. That's why the Cold War started. And actually, if you really take a deep dive and look at things from a forensic ideology perspective, Hitler was a project financed by the West. He was financed by the Rothschilds and by the U.S. He was promoted. He was supposed to be the anti-Stalin. Well, the Soviet Union was a Rothschild project, wasn't it? You got to know what happened here. Lenin died, and Stalin took over. It was supposed to have been Trotsky. Trotsky was going to carry that revolution to the whole world. His policy, Trotskyism, next was supposed to be Germany. And they were well on their way with it, too. And then after Germany, England, and then America. They're going to burn the whole world down and remake it Bolshevik. Stalin stopped Trotsky. He ran the Trotskyites off and took over himself. Says, no, we're consolidating. We have socialism in one country. And Stalin did a pretty good job of industrializing and building infrastructure. It was fantastic. So the powers that be got kind of butt sore about that, so we got to get rid of Stalin. That's why Hitler was promoted and Hitler was helped. And then Hitler went off the reservation. See, they keep getting these guys, and then these guys, yeah, I'll do it. And then they start getting fat heads and going off the reservation with their own ideas. And then, something has to happen to them. This happens again and again and again. Gaddafi, he was installed by the CIA, but then he went way off the reservation. Saddam Hussein, the same thing. I guess it's a mercy, really. Well, this has just turned into a rant that runs all over the place. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, please leave comments. I try to remember to put those links in there. But Uncle Billy signing out.